Hi, welcome to Expand Your Us. I'm so glad that you've joined me and happy Advent. I've been baking in a frenzy lately. Cookies, brownies, chewies, biscuits, waffles, and pies. Sounds delicious, but baking for me is like church and therapy and confession and entering rehab all at one time. I like to think of myself as a pretty self aware person, but alas, I am often late to the party when it comes to acknowledging the deficits in my mental, emotional, or physical health. to, excuse me. To compensate for these blind spots, I look for for familiar markers to help me recognize the moments when I'm no longer crushing it. For instance, if I find myself screening calls or hiding from a knock on the front door, I usually, finally, and it takes longer than you think it should, realize that something is going on with my internal everything. It's not rocket science. I know other people are better at this than I am. I'm even a little bit ashamed of it. How can I think I'm doing well when I'm clearly not? Well, one of the reasons is that I have an iron will that pushes me to keep going no matter what. And that will tends to bully my mental and emotional need for restoration. I insist that things are good, even if another part of my soul and body know they aren't good. My problem is that those other parts don't communicate super well. So part of me thinks I'm great, while the other part of me is barely hanging on. As an educator married to a physician with 4 school-age children, the impact of the pandemic has been everywhere. My students struggle to function and learn. My husband faces impossible life or death situations more frequently. Both of us can't find the joy that used to come easy. And my children don't remember what it feels like to learn collaboratively in environments where they feel safe, known, and celebrated. The pandemic has taken a lot. And with this new rise of the Omicron, we all fear that it will continue to do so. Amidst this mess, recently I felt bombarded by updates from the cases of Kyle Rittenhouse and the killers of Ahmaud Arbery. Then a 15-year-old in Michigan got a gun for Christmas, openly fantasized about shooting up his school, and then did so. Suddenly, I felt a rising need to bake. The weekend after a man killed children at Sandy Hook Elementary School, I made homemade cinnamon rolls for the first time. After George Floyd was killed, I perfected scones and waffles. When my psyche feels overwhelmed by terrifying grief that defies easy processing, that undermines my trust in the world, in a just world, I feel a desire to bake or cook complicated, intimidating recipes. I don't really understand it, but I've learned to trust it. When I'm baking, I am not conscious of the battles that rage within me. I don't realize that I'm searching for a way to ground myself, to trust that the center will hold, even as evil swirls around my family. Still, somehow, baking weirdly becomes my creative act of resistance against the evil of this world. A biscuit becomes my mark of defiance against the dark. A scone bears witness to the fact that I believe God cares deeply about the injustice we face, that Christ laments alongside us, that God brings healing and redemption to ruined people and places. Advent reminds us that God comes toward us. Jesus knows all is not well and brings miraculous justice to speak good news over bad realities. Advent is an invitation to reflect on the parts of us that need hope and healing. For those who walked in darkness have seen a great light. These are words for people covered in flour, trying to work out their salvation with fear and trembling in the kitchen. Wherever you go to find the ground beneath your feet when the world throws you, I pray you will lift your eyes to the God who sees you and knows you. I pray your broken heart would feel bound up by your Maker, that you would find some freedom from your captivity. In the community of God, a rolling pin and a pastry cutter can be sacraments, blessed to bring healing to a weary world. In this Advent season, I hope you begin to recognize your need to push back against the dark and make room for the light. Give yourself fully to those traditions and enjoy a God who can heal you through ridiculous routines like mine. I hope you guys are enjoying December, and I'm so grateful for our community. Be well.